All right, so teenage years, obviously a monumental transition for kids. They go through many physical, mental, emotional changes. And as a parent, it can be tough to navigate as you really try and hope to make sure that you're doing all the right things to help them.
Yeah, I remember 13 was a rough year.
Yeah.
I have a 13-year-old home. She was nothing like me,
Wow.
thankfully. One key part that often doesn't get a lot of attention is a teenager's sleep patterns. They actually should be getting 8 to 10 hours a night, but just 1 in 5 teens gets fewer than 5 hours. A main reason, they are on their phones and iPads. Here were some tips to help you get your teen better sleep is licensed marriage and family therapist Dr. George James. Dr. James, thank you for being here. First, let's talk about what's actually happening in your teenager's brain when they're sleeping. Why is that so important? And also, then what happens if that sleep gets interrupted?
Hi, Vicki and Morgan. And as an almost parent of a teenager, I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. I'm going to think about this a lot. A lot is happening when our teens are sleeping, when we're all sleeping. It's the time when the brain tries to release these hormones to repair some tissue. It also is the time where the brain organizes things and also gets rid of those toxins, those things that maybe aren't so healthy for us. So sleep is extremely important for our development and especially for our teens.
I'm starting to feel a little bit better because I've said this before. My dad, it was like the one place he was strict when I was growing up. I had to be in bed by 9 p.m., like until I went to college because he kept saying, it's like, old school, like Caribbean parenting, like you got to get your sleep. You got to, it's the most important thing. But, we hear that it's important that you not have your phone before bed, but 89% of teens do have some form of screens in their bedroom. So what exactly is the link, just even medically, between screens and sleep?
You're talking my language when you say Caribbean parents. That's all me right there, all day, every day. But there is a link, right, between what happens with screens. One of the things that happens is the release of serotonin, which actually makes us feel good. But when it makes you feel so good, then you don't do other things like be active or engage other people. Also, the blue light that happens, it releases like the sleep hormone that promotes like this feeling of like, oh, I'm good. I don't need to go to sleep. And then also in gaming, there's a stress hormone, right, that is released where you feel like the cortisol is released, where you feel like you're engaging in something. So when you put all that together, kind of makes teens feel like they shouldn't sleep or they don't need to sleep or it's hard to go to sleep, but they actually need those hours and need to go to bed probably at 9.
It's like tricking your brain that you feel good, but you're not getting the benefits of actually sleeping. And also, on a side note, let's do a segment on Caribbean parenting. So now my interest is totally piqued. Let's talk about the signs. What should you watch out for if you're a parent that may point to your teen not getting enough sleep?
Some of the things that you should really pay attention to is really any changes that you see with your teenager. Like, so changing in mood, changing even appetite. Changing, like if they're more fatigued, if you see them even showing signs of increased anxiety or depression. For the most part, teens are going to be a little bit moody, but sometimes they might be more moody. And so you just want to see that. And you will see also performance in school. Are their grades slipping or something else just feels off? That's just a sign to just inquire and check in with them.
And speaking of that, what are some of the sort of takeaway tips for parents? How can parents just practically and tactically improve their teens' sleep?
Well, we're going to come back right to your dad, right? The importance of go to bed, right? It is important to say, have a routine, have a set time for your child or children to go to bed, and then help them remove some of those things that might be distractions. Remove the screens out of the room because that can really influence them to say like they want to stay up. Also, sometimes it might be as a parent, we're not spending enough time connecting with our children, finding out what they're doing, how they're doing within their day. All of this is under the guidelines of what we call sleep hygiene. So you want to promote good sleep hygiene so your teens can go to sleep and they can be better for the next day.
You know what? It's good for you. It's good for your teen because you put those screens away. You find that time. We stretch at night. And then it gets you into that mood to go to bed.
That's right. Doctor,
really
you've got Dad Rad feeling real vindicated right now down in Atlanta. He's like, yeah, doctor, tell her.
Look, shout out to Jamaica and them. Everybody.
Love it. Licensed marriage and family therapist, Dr. George James, thank you so much.